welcome back to another episode of the What Everybody podcast. Episode 82 is upon us, and so is another beautiful What Everybody Wednesday. On today's episode, Ryan and Johnny are going to cover everything from Kiss Crazy Nights to the Titanic. It's what we like to call here on the WBP a smorgasbord of topics. With that being said, sit back and enjoy the show. So with no further ado, Ryan and Johnny. Hello, Ryan Harris. Welcome back to another episode. What is it? Episode 82, I think. Yeah.
My dude. Hey. My man. My dude.
You know who calls me my dude?
You know what I'm gonna call you,
that?
Johnny. Udell. How do we change Udell into Johnny Dude? Johnny Dude.
Johnny you dude.
Johnny you dude. Johnny you doodle.
Johnny you dude. What's it called? You know who calls me my guy? Is Sean Friday.
My guy.
Like, what up, my guy?
What up, my
Hey,
guy?
what's up, Ryan Harris?
What up,
Welcome
my
back
dude?
to another episode here of the What Everybody podcast. I got a hole here. I love this shirt.
I see that, dude. Airing out your armpits.
Dude, I forgot I had that hole in there, and I just went out to lunch with Grayson to the Olive Garden, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, dude." He's like, "Yo, you got a hole." I was like, "Oh yeah, shit, fuck, sorry."
Are you wearing the pants that has the hole in them as well?
Yes.
I don't. Yeah, dude, right on your asshole, right on your butt crack. You got a hole in your pants.
If I liked it in the ass, it would be a perfect entry.
Be a udalt.
No, dude, you know what it is? Dude, all of my fucking pants like this, I've had 3 pairs, not all of them, because I have like 6 pairs. 3 pairs have ripped in the same fucking spot.
You're wearing them all the same, or
You know
you're
what
sitting
happens?
on the same rough surface.
I have one of those fences you put up so your kid doesn't go running out into the kitchen or something like that. You put some kind of fence up or a dog fence
for your cat.
Well, I have that in my doorway, so the older cat can't come into my room because the older cat likes to pee wherever, and I don't want her peeing in my room, and especially with my other cats in there, I'd rather the older cat not be in there. So I step over this, and every time it's ripped, it's when I am stepping over that said fence. It's always like,
pants.
I'm like, fuck!
Split my damn pants again. Damn cat.
Hey, speaking of guilt, dude, I have a question for you. We send a lot of
Good
videos
segue.
to each other.
Sheesh. Yeah. Guilt.
We send a lot of videos. And
do.
there was a video that you sent me this week that was just like, I think you sent it to me. If you didn't send it to me, I definitely forwarded it on to you. But it was a video of all these fails from little kids, like little kid fails, like jumping off of a diving board, smacking their head, like things that you would be like, if you were their parent, you'd be like, oh my God. But watching it, I'm just fucking cracking up, right? So there's a side of me that's like, is it bad to laugh at children hurting themselves? When you see an adult fall on their face, it's funny because you're like, dumbass, But a kid, you're like, well, they're just learning. But wow, man, that kid, is he going to be all right? Like, I don't know. Am I an asshole? It is funny.
I'll tell you this.
You know what video I'm talking about?
Well, if I can get a word in, maybe you will let me tell you that I know what video you're talking about. It's funny. It's probably funny because of that. Like, you feel bad laughing at it. But also, my favorite videos are the ones that just straight up deserve it, dude. You have to, for it to be a classic, you have to deserve it. Kid falling off a diving board wrong or whatever. Haha, funny, whatever. But poor man, I hope he's okay. But like, guy sticks his hand in a crocodile's mouth. What do you think was going to happen?
Were you the one who sent me the one this morning where the guy's like in the river standing there with the fucking crocodile and wonders why the crocodile's like going to town on his leg?
Well, I don't feel like pulling it up at the current moment, but I'll explain. There was a big alligator, crocodile, whatever, and he was like in this little ditch, and they had a towel over his head. Now,
I didn't notice.
They had a towel
weird.
over his. Well, they do that whenever professionals are transporting a crocodile or whatever, they'll cover up his eyes so you can't see it, and then they put pressure on its snout. And then that way, because like their jaw is very strong, biting, but it's not strong at all lifting up. If you can see on YouTube, I'm doing a perfect example with my hands. They're not strong to do that. So if you push down on their snout and have somebody hold their tail, that's how and then they tie their little legs together or whatever, and they transport them to whatever. How I know this is.
Yeah, that was my question. That was my follow up. Why the fuck do you even know that?
I just am obsessed with alligators, dude. But this idiot in the video is dressed in normal people clothes. It's like, for sure, call the wildlife game or something to come get it. He was like an old guy in civilian clothing. Of course, he completely biffed, putting the pressure on the alligator snout. You know what, dude? Whatever. I'll
pull the fucking thing up, will you? Because the reality of it is, you got to think he must have been trying to impress his grandson or granddaughter or something. Because otherwise, why the fuck would you do such a stupid thing?
Now look at this guy. So you can see he has the towel there, and
it doesn't even look like they had the towel covered right because he saw him coming. How do you see him coming?
And
how do you see him coming?
That video ends there. That crocodile is not done going after him. Look, so he completely misses. Alligator turns around, almost bites him, does bite him, and then goes after his leg, and the video stops. So
he goes after his dude.
Guy might have got hurt. I don't think that's funny. I mean, he deserves it.
Well, I don't think it's funny, but I listen. I ain't going in there, okay?
But
call me crazy. Call me crazy. So, like, you went in there. You're an idiot. You know, like, what did you expect? Like, that crocodile was fucking with that guy because, like, he covered the eyes, but the crocodile still saw him coming. Like, the guy took too long. He took too long.
Call wildlife, and for sure, don't ever let your dad do that. Don't ever let your dad do that.
No.
Jump in there first, dickhead.
Yeah, man. Don't be a dumbass.
Ozzy's out a power trip. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
You know
see
that power trip festival in October?
Yeah. The one that I'm going to miss, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ozzy backed out. He's due to health reasons. They got Judas Priest.
Oh, Judas Priest instead? I thought Judas Priest was already doing it.
No, it's Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Judas Priest now, Metallica, and Tool.
Interesting. If I was rad. Judas Priest, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you for not asking us originally.
You should have asked me in the first place.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
We've been around longer than Tool.
Right. And they're better than Tool in my opinion. I think Tool is just over fucking rated. I really do. Like, dude. I understand why people like it.
No way.
But it's just like, okay. Well, let's have the debate.
It's your opinion.
Because
I'm not shutting you down.
But I want to have the debate because I'm curious on why it's slow, it's droning, there's not a hook anywhere. What are you into there? What's
absolutely hook. It's absolutely hooks in there. And slow doesn't mean it's bad.
No, it's not. I'm just saying
you're a drummer.
Droning,
you're a drummer.
Slow.
You should
droning,
love that band.
No hooks. Slow.
Danny Carey.
Droning. Hey, I'm not saying they're not great musicians.
Yeah.
But I don't understand the fascination. I just don't get. I really don't get it. I'm being dead serious. Tell me, why do you like Tool?
It's a hard question to answer. I like it when I listen to it. It sounds good to me.
Okay, but what is it? Where?
Why do you like
Tool?
Your favorite band?
When you listen to Tool,
yeah,
because it's a specific style of music.
Yes.
When you listen to Tool, do you what aspect of it's going? Wow, man, yeah, I'm fucking digging this.
It's heavy.
It's heavy. Okay, you like heavy stuff that just sounds like noise. I get it.
I mean, if I'm in the mood to listen to catchy rock or something like that, I'll probably put on like blanking on the name of the album now. Crazy Nights. Kiss Crazy Nights is probably like that's catchy rock, Like if I'm in a Jonny U,
right. Okay,
if I'm in a Jonny
check it out.
You dude mood, I'm gonna put on
of all
Crazy Nights.
Fucking all the records from Kiss that have catchy songs on them. You go to Crazy Nights.
That's a catchy song, bro.
It is I gotta choose my words properly.
Listen,
cheesy as all hell.
Yeah, it's Kiss. They've been cheesy.
It's crazy,
cheesy
crazy,
from the get-go.
Crazy nights.
What?
You know what song I like on that album? I'm going to bang bang you.
It's so bad. It's so cheesy.
You know what's
all right.
crazy
Okay. That's a good question.
Like
what do you think their catchiest song is? We're talking over
each
each other. We're yelling and shouting, and I'm not going to stop. What do you think their catchiest song is? I would argue "Crazy Nights." Catchiest.
I would argue.
I didn't say your favorite. I didn't say their best.
I would argue
Catchy.
I Was Made for Loving You.
That's a good answer too. Yeah. They do it live at the Pyro. I was made to that song's rad.
I just want to say that I really did have and very much get into the Crazy Nights album. But there was a time because like when it came out, I remember going on a trip with my family and it was like one of 2 CDs I had with me. So I just listened to it. I went to Walt Disney World. I'll never forget that. And I just listened to that album on that whole trip. So had it not been for that trip, I may have not gotten into that album because compared to other Kiss albums, it is Kiss is cheesy. This is like the cheese of the top of the cheese mountain.
Yeah, it's like prime 80s.
Yeah, like
just doing all of it. Paul Stanley wearing Everlast gloves and stuff.
Yeah, and playing a headless stock.
Oh yeah, that little boxy thing with no headstock.
Yeah, that used to be like the bass player guitar to use.
That would be straight up. That would be like live playing Guitar Hero. If Guitar Hero was your actual guitar.
Yeah,
that's the Crazy Night. The Crazy
I
Nights
actually
Paul
did
Stanley
watch.
guitar.
I think that was 1987 is the year that album came out, and I think
sounds about right.
Yeah, I watched Kiss live at some festival, and the only reason I just remembered this is because of the fucking stupid Paul Stanley guitar you just thought about. Because it also said like Body Glove on it or something. It was like black and yellow, and it said Body Glove.
Yeah.
I just watched that tour from a festival in Europe, and I mean. You know what you can see when you watch some of that older footage is you can see how much they've slowed down. You know what I mean? You can just see it's like, man, like you guys really shouldn't be doing it right now because you
listen to them live Revenge era, and that is a hard rock,
Revenge,
rad band.
That is their best album. That's one of my favorites. That is my favorite.
Back to the Crazy Nights thing. I don't want to blame them. It's not really their fault. But however, I was listening to that song one time while I was driving, and I wrecked my car. It was that song, specifically that song. Now, maybe I should have been paying more attention to driving and less to the song.
There's another explanation on why that is such a cheesy album because it's all Paul Stanley songs. During this period of time, I think it was Paul Stanley's book I was reading, the one that you lent me. He was talking about how he was actually kind of pissed off at Gene Simmons because Gene Simmons was off in Hollywood making movies. And Paul was the only reason Kiss was able to stay as a functioning machine because he was the only one putting the effort in. And that album, he pretty much wrote everything.
Reading his autobiography made me, I always liked the guy, but it made me like, oh, okay, he's that.
I like him way better than Gene. I don't like Gene.
Yeah. Made me like him more, I guess.
When I first moved to LA, I went to Paladinos. I went with Huey, God rest his soul, my ex-wife, and we went to, I forget who we went to go see play, but so we're just walking through the table area, and Gene Simmons just grabs my ex-wife by the arm, grabs her, puts her on his knee, and just starts bouncing his knee. And I was just like, dude,
what a douche move. Yeah,
like, that's assault, right? I mean, it would be assault technically. I mean, it doesn't.
It's just inappropriate.
I mean, it's not assault, but it's
that's assault, brother.
It's disrespect. it's disrespectful not only to her, but for the fact that maybe she was there with, say, her husband at the time. You know what I mean? What a prick. And then
you're the guy. You're the guy that punched Gene Simmons. And it's just puts you in that position.
Right.
Whatever. Change the subject off of Kiss. I got something. I found an article, dude, and I'm just gonna pull it up so you can see the reason that I read it. Okay.
All right. Let's see this. I want to know
you'll like this. You'll like this article. It's political. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. press dinner explodes in war of words and farting. That is an undeniable title.
What was the farting part about? And why is Elon Musk in there? Is he the fart?
No, this is page 6 I got the article from, and they just have this weird. So, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. press dinner explodes in war of words and farting. You could down. It's actually kind of a pretty funny article. I'll just read it. Camelot it ain't. Page 6 regrets to report that the press dinner to boost Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s presidential campaign descended into foul bout of screaming and polemic farting Tuesday night. The White House hopeful attended the affair at Tony's on the Upper East Side, no doubt hoping to impress on the ladies and gentlemen of the Fourth Estate his worthiness to sit at the very same Oval Office desk occupied by his late uncle. His uncle was John F. Kennedy. His dad was RFK. But a shouting match over climate change broke out between two boisterous old men, sending everything down an extremely unfortunate path. The gaseous exchange, to which page 6 bore reluctant witness, began after a guest asked Kennedy, founder of ecological organization Waterkeeper Alliance, about the environment. And it seems that the mere inquiry was enough to set off apparently.
Was it real farts or just?
I'm getting to it. Yeah, listen. And it seems the mere inquiry was enough to set off apparently drunk gossip columnist turned flack Doug turned what's that turned flack columnist turned flack whatever. Doug DeShirt was the guy that farted. The host of the event, who became enraged and screaming at the top of his lungs the climate hoax. So this guy here, or the guy that's in the picture there, believes that climate change is a hoax.
Right, as it's 100 degrees right outside the fucking door I'm sitting in.
Meanwhile, octogenarian art critic Anthony Hayden Guest, who appeared to have been sleeping happily for most of the dinner, was roused by the abrupt rumpus. He suddenly opened his eyes and denounced his longtime DeShirt, calling him a miserable blob. "Shut up," implored Hayden Guest. They're just arguing like publicly. That's the guy that told him to shut up. Hayden Guest tells us he was not asleep. I was just thinking, and says that he was the one who asked the question about the environment. DeShirt continued to scream wildly about climate change scam, while Hayden Guest peppered him with verbal volleys across the table, calling him insane and insignificant. So they're just arguing. Where was the part about the farting? I'm getting to it.
Here, the next line.
Here, it seems DeShirt sensed the need for a new rhetorical tact, and let rip a loud, prolonged fart while yelling, as if to underscore his point, "I'm farting." Two old drunk dudes at a fundraiser start arguing about the environment, and the one guy ends it by going, "I'm farting."
That's so funny. That is. That's some classic shit. Yeah, that's classic.
I should have read that. I should have read that in a British accent.
Yeah, because it's yeah. It would be great if it's like, "I'm farting. I just shit my pants.
I just shit my pants."
Oh shit.
Oh, man.
Anyway, hello everybody. Now that we got through all that,
you can't say, bro. We're 20 minutes in. You can't say hello now. It's almost goodbye.
Well, I mean, hello, goodbye. It's all the same.
Hello,
shit.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
We talked about kiss and farting. That's our new theme song. Environmental debates with farts. I figured you'd like that, though. It's political.
Yeah, I mean the political landscape. All right, dude, listen. We can't talk about politics. I'll go to town.
Not getting political. This is not political, but
I just want to know something. Anybody who's listening, can we all tell when people are lying? That's all I want to know. There's so much lying that goes on that I'm just like, man, like, what do you think people believe this shit? And if there are people who believe the shit that they lie about, then it's kind of just like, man, we have a stupid culture around us. That's all. That's all I got to say. That's my politics for the day.
It's just people like fighting, dude. It's all sports, you know?
Well, go fucking play sports then.
Have you seen some of those fat blobs? They ain't playing those sports.
Yeah, well, that's probably, there's angry people. There's angry people.
That was a little bit judgy, but whatever, you know?
No, they're fat slobs. They're ugly people. I didn't mean to say ugly
inside
people.
And out.
People. They're fat slobs on the inside and out. When I called them ugly people, I meant to say angry people. That was some kind of Freudian slip, so perhaps cut that shit out.
I'm leaving all your mistakes in the edits, buddy. How else are you going to learn?
I read an article last week, and maybe you should see if one of us should Google it. Flying car, dude. It's coming. It's $300,000.
Really?
It's only, it only drives 25 miles per hour on the street, but you can fly it.
Oh man, that's a whole world of problems.
Yeah, dude. Like, try getting this one passed by the Federation people or the government.
I mean, we can't even get people to agree that, like the smart or like electric cars, people fight over electric versus gas. What do you think they're going to do about a flying car?
I need you to.
Like, do you need a pilot's license? You're going to have to need like a certain kind of license.
Probably going to need something, right?
Yeah.
The first manned personal flying car.
I'm attempting our first manned flight.
Look at this thing. That thing is going to drive down the street. That's it. Let me see if I can find out how much this bitch is going to cost.
But it did, so was that the extent of its flying? It went
the
up and
FAA
down.
experimental flying car receives FAA certification. A first.
Well,
how much is the new flying car? The new flying car is $300,000. Model A is one step closer to your garage. For the first time, a fully electric flying car has secured certificate of airworthiness from the FAA, putting its maker one step closer to its goal of selling the $300,000 flying car in the U.S. How soon will they be available?
That's a good question. Is there an answer to that?
The gas engine that goes with it, powered by premium gasoline. Debuted its first flying car prototype in 2019.
You're reading way too fast. I don't understand a word you're saying.
2026 ship date for the first aircraft.
All right. That's a terrible idea.
So, dude, like, think about this. So, like, what a great idea in LA, though. I mean, but what happens if they get into an accident in the sky? Two dudes take off on the 405 freeway. And you die. They don't just die. The cars on the ground die, too.
Yeah. I mean, the concept,
crazy, right?
The concept is wonderful, but the reality of it is...
It's getting two Jetsons too fast.
8 out of 10 humans shouldn't be in a ground car, let alone a flying car. I'm probably one of them.
I've never flown an airplane, so all of a sudden, like, you're going to let me fly an airplane over, like, groups of people?
Yeah, dude.
Like, just think about this. People be able to, like, fly into, like, Dodger Stadium. Oh, shit, I missed the parking lot.
Oh, well, first day with my new flight license.
I'm coming into first.
People be like flying into overpasses and shit.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a terrible idea.
Does it say how high it flies? Like, is there an elevation that it, like, because I mean, people be flying into trees.
Flying car, how high can the flying cars go? 18,000 feet. Wow.
Dude, could you imagine being 18,000 feet in that little cubby by yourself? I get anxiety on the 101.
Probably get less anxiety up there because there won't be anything up there.
You're 18,000
It'll just be the anxiety
feet,
of, like,
dude.
if we crash, I'm going. Yeah, I mean, think about this. The Titanic was 13,000 feet, so it's even fucking further. We've never talked about those jerk-offs. You want to talk about that for a second?
I was going to bring this up to you because whenever that thing imploded, first of all,
I thought of you because you love the Titanic.
No, I'm prepared. I'm so obsessed with it. I went down the rabbit hole of, like,
Me too.
You can go online and there's all these animations in real time of famous ships sinking. It's like the Titanic, the Britannic, like the Lusitania, even that, like, Costa Concordia, the one, like, in 2000, I think it was 12 or whatever. It's like
you can actually watch an actual video. There's video
Yeah.
footage. I started watching that the other day.
I went down an absolute rabbit hole watching all these, like, famous ship sinkings, and it was all because of that because of that Titan submarine. I feel bad for those people, man. Everyone's like, oh, well, they're billionaires.
I feel bad for all
need-
except the owner. I feel bad all except the owner because the owner knew.
Yeah, he was
the
arrogant.
owner fired. He fired a guy because the guy told him this is not safe. You can't do this. So what did he do? He fired the guy. And after it blew up, the guy was like, dude, I told him and I got fired.
Yeah, he told that guy in like 2018.
Yeah, and it's like it was their third or fourth attempt. They've never gone down there with that. Every other attempt got canceled by weather. So there's video. There's a video of a guy who was on the one right before it that they got in the water and then they ended up
pulled it. Yeah,
they pulled it, but he ended up doing like a test run in it that went down a little bit and then up or whatever. So then they went and did it again and then it blew up.
That Titan never made it to the Titanic previously because I was under the impression that it had successful dives.
That's what I was under the impression too, but it hasn't. They never made it there.
The collection of its previous dives like weakened the.
No, the guy said it from the
fiber.
get-go. The guy said it from the get-go. This material will not sustain the pressure. Yeah. This material will not sustain the pressure. They were trying a whole new material that they've never used on one of those submersibles. So it was like they tried it. It blew up. It was like the fucking guy was controlling it with like a Nintendo
with a
controller.
PlayStation, like a PlayStation
or something.
Controller
It's like
or
crazy. Yeah. Here's a cool Titanic story. I'm obsessed with the Titanic.
He was an arrogant dude. Yeah, but I mean, also he was like, I will play devil's advocate. He was an intelligent guy that had successful dives before, and he was trying a new technology. And he made a comment about like, something to the effect of like, people thought iPhones were crazy because there's no buttons on it now. It's all digital. It's like he was going on that line of logic. So.
Yeah, but you know what? I saw a guy say something when they were interviewing me. It's like that's because they were saying not that specifically, but they were saying other stuff. He's like, yeah, that's all good and all, but you cannot change physics.
Yeah, I heard something like that. We probably read some of the same articles.
Watch the same shit on YouTube or whatever. Because there's all sorts of little documentaries on it. Because like it's like seriously, like, all right, well, that's not what I wanted to talk to you about.
That's a scary way to talk to you.
Well, you know what? They
pitch black.
Actually,
pitch black.
It's pitch black, and they had 19 minutes of distress. For 19 minutes, they were trying to fix the problem. That's the video I watched the other day. So there was like 19 minutes. Like we're probably going to die here.
So you tell me you're that kid. You're that kid that going down there with his dad. You got like 19 minutes of pitch black, and you're in like a nosedive, and then all of a sudden,
well, dude,
I was cracks and creaks, and then
what I was going to say to you is, put that aside, right? Let's say they didn't blow up. Let's say it did go to the Titanic and back. Could you get in something like that? I'm so claustrophobic, and I always have said if I was ever rich, I'd go to the Titanic because I'm obsessed with the Titanic.
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
When I saw how they have to sit in that, it's like you have to sit down. You're all together. There's no space. You have a window that's probably, a lot bigger than it appears on the TV. I would say probably is maybe half the wall behind me. You know what I mean? It's like the size of a round window.
It's one portal.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And there's how many were there? 5 in that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would be just claustrophobic. And then you get locked in. So if that thing would have made it to the surface and they weren't found and they ran out of oxygen, they couldn't get out. Like there was no way for them to get out unless somebody let them out.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, dude. So they were saying like if they would have made it to the surface, but nobody would have found them in time, they would have been sitting on the surface where there's air, but they can't get to the air.
So you got the facts. Let me ask you a question that I don't know the answer to. Because it had 3 like safety fails. If something goes wrong, they had 3 things that would bring it back up to the surface. But was that all dependent on the electrical staying?
Okay, so there was something that was going on with the electrical thing because they were trying to come up.
Right.
And it was saying they were moving at it like some crazy slow thing. Like it was almost like the motors weren't working. But they were also implying that when they were trying to come up, the reason why it wasn't working is because the thing was cracking in spots and filling with water, probably. You know what I mean?
That's a scary
And then eventually
way to die.
it just crushed and imploded. You know?
Yeah.
And you know what the craziest thing is? You wanted to see the Titanic? Well, you fucking went right where they did. It was 1,000 feet from the Titanic where they found all the fucking pieces.
Yeah.
for this thing.
Wonder what happens to
know?
your human. Wonder what happens to the human body. Like, does it? Obviously, you get crushed, but like, what happens to your bones and stuff? Do they just get pulverized by weight?
Well, no, it exploded. So they exploded.
Yeah.
It just, but my question about bones is, when you were saying that, it made me think, because I knew the answer to yours right away. It made me think this: all those people that went down with the Titanic, are their bones still down on the floor?
No, they're not. There's still like shoes and like.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy
there.
when you see that.
But
you see like baby shoes and shit. It's like sad.
Two things. I do believe that the pressure's too much. It pulverizes any kind of like, your bone is really not that. It's your bone's not made of steel. It's too.
So it just becomes like powder.
Becomes like dust powder. But also you're organic, so you're going to be like your fish food.
What a horrible way to die if you were on the Titanic.
Oh yeah, dude.
Freezing in that water, and sharks are probably around and shit.
I watched so those animations I was talking about, they do them in real time, and the Titanic took like 2.5 hours or something like that to sink.
So you watched a video for over 3 hours of the Titanic sinking?
I mean, I fast forward through it, but it's fascinating, dude. It's like you're saying earlier with the kid falling off the diving board, and do you feel bad watching this? It's like, I feel bad laughing at this, but it's also still funny. It's like, I feel bad being interested in a tragic event, but it's fascinating, dude.
Well, dude, I watch documentaries on serial killers, so that's fascinating to me.
And then there was a ship called the Britannic that was a sister ship of the Titanic that sunk a couple years later. Did you hear about that one? Yeah,
I've heard of the Britannic. I didn't know it was part of the same. I didn't know that. No,
it was the sister ship, and it had improvements made to it because like the Titanic was considered unsinkable. And they realized like, oh, well, that's bullshit. So they did all these improvements to, like, it had in the front of it, it had these emergency doors. So you had the outer wall that hit the iceberg, and behind it you had this emergency door. So if there was any kind of damage done to the outside, they shut this essentially second outer wall. And that was supposed to keep the water out of any kind of area that it would be damaging, but those doors failed.
Oh, is that what happened? The doors didn't come down?
The doors failed, and all it's just, so the front end filled up. And also the final scrape of the iceberg ripped a big gash into like 2 other sections that had those emergency doors, and those doors failed. But the Britannic, they got those doors under control a little bit, and it was in the Mediterranean. So it's going along, and this was during World War I, I think. I think it was World War I. However, there was a mine, like a bomb, in the water. So same place as the Titanic hit the iceberg, the Britannic hits this bomb in the water on the front right side. I don't know what that starboard side. I don't know, the front right.
Was that bomb purposely put there, or was that just like a bomb that ended up?
The bomb was put there because it was put there by, I don't remember who, but it was like an attempt to keep, like, I think the Germans put it there to keep the French out. French put it there to keep the Germans, something like that, And it was not intended to hit the Britannic. The Britannic was like a medical ship at the time. It hits, and the captain sees that they're not terribly far away from land. So he's like, all systems ahead. I'm going to try to get as close to the land as I can. Maybe I'll luck out and like hit the ground, and like potentially save the ship, or, like it won't sink. So he has the engines, all systems ahead. In the front.
How bad was the hole of the from the bomb?
It was worse. So the Britannic sunk in about an hour and a half. So he's going all systems forward, and the front of it starts to sink.
And how far from land was he exactly? Like, how far was he trying to make it?
I don't know the distance. They did say it. I don't remember. Call it a mile. I don't know, but they could see land. And so they're going all systems forward, and the front starts to go down, and now they're not moving anymore because the rudders are out of the water. Now they're evacuating people. They're putting them on the lifeboats. The people are going down into the lifeboats. Now, since the ship is sinking and the back now is up a little bit, these people are kind of like, the emergency boats are sort of like being drawn to the sinking ship. They can't get away from the ship. And there were 2 or 3 ships that got back to the rudders that were on full blast because the captain's trying to get to land, and the ship, the emergency ships just got like destroyed by the rudders, and like people were getting like going into the rudders. So the captain's like, well, that's obviously can't have that. Turns the rudders off. Now they sink. And not as many people died on that one, but still, dude. Could you
How many
imagine?
lived? Did more people live than died?
They had a much more successful like they had by the time like one of the improvements they made to the Britannic. The Titanic was massively undermanned with lifeboats, but the Britannic had more on it. Apparently, I know a lot about this stuff. Fascinated with it, dude.
Well, dude, so you want to hear a cool Titanic story? So, God, this must have been the 2018. It was fall 2018. Bullets and Octane was on tour. That was like half the tour by herself, half the tour with CKY. When we went to go meet CKY for the first show, the first two shows were Ireland. So I was like,
Did you
I
say
think
Ireland?
Titanic had something to do with the. Yeah. I'm like, I think the Titanic had something to do with Belfast. So I Googled it and I was like, oh yeah, it was built on a harbor and it left after it was built. It left that harbor to go to Southampton or wherever.
Yeah.
So then I get to the hotel and I noticed that we're staying near water. So I was just curious. I'm like, well, I wonder if we're anywhere near where that Titanic thing was. So when we get to the front desk, I'm like, hey, you know, the whole Titanic museum and where they built the Titanic, is that anywhere nearby? They're like, yeah, just walk out the back of the hotel. So
You're like right there.
I was right there, dude. So the next morning,
cool.
Zach and we walked down, and there was like lines painted from where they pushed the Titanic off, and then they had one small boat from the what was the name of the company that made the Titanic?
Dude, good call. I don't remember who made the Titanic. What was the company that made the Titanic? Starline, Starfleet, Starfleet. That's Star Trek.
Titanic. Who made the Titanic? Who made
Google. Google. Who made?
White Star Line.
White Star Line. Yeah, right. That was way off.
Titanic was one of three ships built by Harland and Wolff and the British shipping company White Star Line. You know,
Dude,
there's a theories though,
we just
dude.
totally broed out on the Titanic.
I just totally, but I heard a conspiracy recently about the Titanic.
Of course you did.
It's interesting.
It's all conspiracies, buddy.
But this conspiracy was that it was the richest people that were on that boat, and there was a take it down for some rich guy that was on that boat or some shit like that.
Did all the rich people live?
Well, the women did.
Yeah.
Any real man would have let the women go first. I was going to say, what about the Malaysia Airlines, the one that just disappeared? They still haven't found it.
Yeah, how's that even possible? It's so weird.
Dude, there's a new documentary on Netflix.
I mean, it had to be over water, right? It was over water and it just sunk. But like,
it was over water, but dude, none of it makes sense. And there's once again a very, very important person was on that plane.
Really? Man,
Yeah.
you're all.
Well, no, dude. Watch that documentary on Netflix, the Malaysia Airlines one, dude. It's a trip.
I got to be in I got to be in the right state of mind to watch that kind of stuff. It'll send me in a spin.
Eat some pot, and fucking go down a fucking little fucking, a little fucking
rabbit hole, man.
What scares me, dude, is like you and I fly a lot, right? Yeah. Like, does it ever trip you out? Like you think about like, okay, I fly a lot. All I'm doing is upping the odds of being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
My buddy is a pilot, and he's one of the how do I say it, like just good at life people that I know. I trust that guy like in a life situation, and he's a pilot. So whenever I have those like weird,
that's probably why you trust him, because he's responsible for many people's lives on a regular basis.
It adds to it. But but to flip it onto, you said me, like when I'm flying, I just think of that. It's like, well, the guy flying is a competent person, and if he's not, don't tell me. We got we're coming at you with the conspiracies today. Jonny Doodell.
Did you just call me Judell?
Doodell. Oh no, I didn't call you that. I called you Jonny Dude from earlier.
Fuck. What the?
Maybe
Pudell.
I need to improve my name calling.
Pudell, or we can go with the one when I was a kid, Jonny U. Smell.
I called you Jonny Doodell.
Dudell.
You dude.
You dude.
We've
My
come
dude.
we've come full.
Johnny
my guy.
Dudell.
We've come full circle.
My guy. That's what it is.
We've
My
exited
guy.
the conspiracies and we're back to dumbass banter.
I like it a lot. It's fine with me.
So hey, dude, will you dude me a favor? Will you dude me a favor and wrap this up?
Well, here at the What Everybody podcast, we like to wrap things
coughing.
up. We like to wrap it up because it's safety first. It's always nice to be safe. And with that being said, thank you for joining us another episode of the What Everybody podcast, episode 82. That's definitely going to get cut out. And then we want you to like, subscribe, and report at any time. Anytime. Hit the little thumbs up button, too. Apparently, that helps Ryan get laid.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. Thanks,
How about I do this ending? Let me do this ending again because I got the look of death from you twice.
Good. I want you to leave it. Later, my dudes.
Right. Later, my dudes. See you next week. Episode 83.